everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I am your host, Dave, and today I am joined by not only good friend Nick Einstman. Say hello, Nick.
Oh, hello, David.
I'm also joined by author Mark Trollinger, who you might remember from our Sam the Sandown Clown episode. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
That Sam was an excellent episode.
Sam was an excellent episode. But yeah, Mark, thank you so much for the books. I haven't had a chance to dive into them yet because I've been reading this book called I Know What I Saw, and it's just like a bunch of like
oh yes. I have that.
I've been diving into that recently, trying to come up with like ideas for episodes and stuff. But if you don't know, Mark, you're an author. You wrote Chupacabra and the Bat Rastard, and then I already forgot the other name. It's something to do with the lake monster. Fuck, I'm bad at this.
Yeah, the second one was about Champ.
Champ, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Come on, man. He's a home state-esque cryptid. You got to know these things.
You'd think I'd remember that considering we're both from New England and it's kind of like just what it is. But yeah, I really appreciate it. Can't wait to dive into it. Are you working on anything right now that you can talk about?
I am I'm kind of taking a little break because I finished book 5 in June of last year.
Yeah.
But then the lady that does my covers, I had her doing some other things. So I still haven't published that book yet. And I finished book 6, which is about the Maryland Goat Man.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't have a cover for that one either. So I thought, well, maybe instead of working on another one, which the next one's going to be like a solo story, and it's going to be in Hawaii.
Okay.
Oh.
So the book after that's going to be the Jersey Devil. So this solo story is going to be, one of the people have to go to Hawaii to get something that will be used in the next book. So
Gotcha.
It's a can of Spam.
And Nick, how you doing, bud? You haven't been on in a while.
Yeah, I'm doing good. The watch game is slowly ticking away and taking my life one by one.
Now, did you make that
piece
pun
by piece.
intentionally, or was that just like
I have inadvertently been making time puns over the past 6 months without realizing it.
That tracks.
Yeah, it's bad.
All right, guys. Well, like I said before we started recording, the reason why I have you two on right now will all make sense in a couple minutes. But before we get started, you guys, have you been seeing this fucking this Miami Mall bullshit?
Yes.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Dude,
like hundreds of cops I saw.
Yeah, but I hate it I hate that it's now aliens. I hate it so much because it's such bullshit and no one will just admit that it's bullshit.
Well, it started off as teens with sticks or something, and then it
was like a brawl of 50 to 100 kids, but they were also setting off fireworks inside the mall, which I guess some people, if you think fireworks, you're probably just thinking teenagers have firecrackers,
right?
But they could have been full on fireworks, prompting people to think that there was a bomb or a terrorist attack, which in a major city would prompt a response like that.
Well, in a city I think it was mortars and stuff. They were just lighting off the ones that go, boom.
But I found
that don't say wayo.
I found out that the main reason why people think it's aliens is because some guy on TikTok was like, "No, man, this isn't what happened. This is what really happened." And he went on this whole long story about how him and his girlfriend were visiting Miami for the holiday season, and they were at the mall. All this shit started popping off, and then he saw the 10-foot tall shadow figure aliens or whatever. And then so everyone started basing the alien things off of that. And it got to the point where the next day he had to make another TikTok video, be like, "Guys, this is me. I was trolling you. I've never even been to Miami." But no one pays attention to the follow-up. It's always the initial thing and it's just, I hate it so much.
Well, I saw a video of, the creature walking, and I couldn't even see anything.
Yeah, it just looks super blurry.
Yeah, well, apparently they cleaned up the video, and it's 3 people walking side by side. It's just the angle that it's shot at makes it look like a really tall person, if that makes sense.
And we never did find the Las Vegas aliens from last summer, did we?
No.
Remember that?
No.
That was...
I think there was I'm pretty sure I saw something very, very relatively within the past couple of weeks of the ship, a clear video of the ship, but it wasn't I don't know. It's not breaking news. I'm not seeing like hundreds of posts about it in any Facebook group I'm in.
Yeah, it's all just.
Since they arrived last year, we have since seen the emergence of AI. So maybe it's a gift from the aliens.
It's all,
it could be
possible, man. Oh shit! All right, yeah. I just wanted to see if you guys were following that, because every time I see it on my TikTok feed, I get so upset and I hate it so much. Because like there'll be someone in the comments being like, "Guys, this isn't real," and they'll be like, "Fuck you, this is so real." And the only video we have is just that one shot of like the boulevard with all the cops on it, and that's it. I just had to get that off my chest. Sorry for everyone listening if you believe in the Miami aliens. Nick, Mark, are you ready to dive into the story?
I am.
All right.
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Okay, so our story today takes place on the north shore of Nova Scotia, Canada. Nova Scotia is known for having the world's highest tides in the Bay of Fundy. It's the only place on the earth where it produces tidal bay wines, which is only produced from grapes grown in Nova Scotia, and is the birthplace to Elliot Page, Alexander Graham Bell, and Rocky Johnson, who was a professional wrestler and father to the greatest to ever do it, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But something, or should I say someone, else called Nova Scotia home for a brief moment in time, sometime in the late 90s, possibly early 2000s. I couldn't get a real date of when this happened, mostly because all of this information that I'm going off of, I got from one source, and that source was a listener email that was sent into the Cryptonaut Podcast, which I'll give full credit for this episode, basically because this is all the information I'm getting is from that. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
So, the story goes that a man named Luke, and working only off of his memory, recalls that when he was about 5 years old, he was visiting his grandparents' house in the northern shore of Nova Scotia. He was playing around in the backyard. He climbed up on top of a large boulder that had been dug out some time ago to make room for like a decorative pond that had been installed in their yard. But by this time, the pond, he said, wasn't really kept up with. He said, except to like just entertain him, which I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means like he swam in it or if he was just like throwing rocks in it. But either way, the pond I'm picturing in my head is disgusting. So I really hope he's not swimming in it.
Maybe he just likes looking at it. Like I get entertained by just looking at bodies of water.
Yeah, true. I guess
Yeah.
it feels like a koi pond and maybe has some like nice,
Like a reflection pond.
I guess, but it's not used. So it's just to me, it's just fucking scummy.
It's like Walden Pond, and he's reflecting on life. Do we know how old Luke is now? Like,
He's in his he said he was like in his like mid to late 30s.
no. Okay. So
Yeah, so he said he
not
was
too
5
long
years
ago.
old. Yeah, but either way, Luke says at this point he watched his grandfather head inside the house, leaving Luke to just kind of be one with the rock in the pond or whatever. It was then that he heard a noise to his right. Now, located right next to his grandparents' house, the neighbors to the right had a large field, like farmland kind of stuff. And at this point in the season, there weren't any crops growing, and Luke said that it was filled with tall grass at the time of the story, so I don't know if it's had even been used for farmland for some time. But it was then that he noticed a figure standing out in the fields. He described it as standing in a scarecrow-like pose with his arms out and a straight body. The figure was roughly 6 to 7 feet tall, wide shoulders. Its clothes were a patchwork of bright colors over brown and black. His hat was pointy and cone-shaped. Its face was almost like that of a jack-o'-lantern with an empty nose hole, but Luke could tell that it was very much somewhat alive. The figure waved and then spoke to him, but the way Luke described it, he didn't hear his voice. It was more like the voice was in his head. He described it kind of like when you hear an echo reverberating, he heard that like inside his head. And the voice said to him something that may sound a little familiar to the both of you. Hello, Sam, and we are all colors.
No
Wow.
way.
Our boy's
Wow.
back. He's
back.
This is Sam the Sandown Clown Part 2.
So does this where Thin Lizzy's The Boys Are Back in Town starts playing and they go on like a buddy comedy adventure? Because this sounds like a great start to a great movie.
Oh, yeah. So if it's not clear by now, the reason why I wanted both of you on for this is because we're going to talk Sam the Sandown Clown, it has to be the original gang, right?
That's right. Wow.
Agreed.
No,
How are we feeling, guys?
Sam from Nova Scotia now.
Yeah, it's no longer Sandown.
That's quite a. How did he get there?
Well, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
I mean, I bet if we could get a better video, we'll see it's now Sam from Miami.
Oh,
he's
God,
probably
yeah.
back.
Oh yeah, that just sounds like a cocaine dealer. Hey, do you know Sam from Miami?
Yeah, right.
He resurfaces every 20 to 30 years.
That's what it's seeming like, because the first one was in what, the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. But
Could be like a Pennywise type deal. Only
shit.
comes out when he's hungry.
Clowns do. Well, oh, because he is a clown. Fuck. All right. Yeah. Hold on. All right. We got to continue the story. Now, Luke at the time remembered that this sounded more like a question than a statement, like saying, "Hey, Sam," whatever. So he replied with, quote, "My name's Luke, not Sam." But Sam clarified by pointing to himself and then taking a bow. I think right here it's important to point out that at this point in his interaction with Sam and just like the two children in the original clown sighting, Luke said he wasn't scared and was very calm during his encounter, stating that he was totally comfortable around clowns because apparently both of his parents did charity work as clowns, which, if I'm being honest, would have had the exact opposite impact on me growing up.
Well, he comes from a clown family. Listen, he's used to stuffing 20 of his relatives in the Fiat. Sam was probably one of them.
If my parents were clowns, I don't think I'd just be chill with clowns. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So weird. Yeah.
I'm terrified of clowns to begin with. I don't think I would have lasted.
Now, after Sam took his bow, because if Sam is anything, he's an entertainer first and a creepy interdimensional clown being second. And this part of the story confirming that, because next he reached into the empty field and opened a door that previously hadn't been there, and as far as Luke could tell, wasn't attached to anything. So Luke was able to see inside the room and saw a green room with some wooden chairs. Sam beckoned Luke to come with him. And just like in the first case with those two idiot children, Luke apparently had no sense of self-preservation. So he got down from the boulder and decided to go with him. Bold choice.
Jesus. Don't follow clowns, kids.
Don't do it. No.
Like if we could put a PSA on this, and I'll keep it quick, Dave. It's if you see a clown, don't fool around. Don't follow that clown into a hole into the ground.
Oh God, that's a bumper sticker and a half if I ever heard one.
Poems by Nick Einstman as I cheers my glass.
So, of course, he followed Sam through the door and was immediately engulfed in bright light that he described as red and green Christmas lights that were as bright as the sun, and that he had to close his eyes to prevent himself from being blinded. Then, just as suddenly as he entered, the next thing Luke remembers is waking up on his grandparents' couch, and it's now dark outside. Luke called for his parents and rushed in, and when he asked what had happened, they said that they found him asleep in the field only a half hour earlier after trying to call out for him to come back inside, and they were doing this for some time. Now, the story doesn't end there. Luckily, there was a follow-up email that the Cryptonaut Podcast got with more details about what had happened during his blackout. Because I'm sure when he wrote the first email, because in the email it made it sound like he heard the Sandown Clown episode and was like, oh shit, I have to let them know that I also saw this thing. So it wasn't fully like fleshed out, but also he was 5. I mean, how much can you really remember? So here are some more details that came out. For starters, after having more time to think and collect his thoughts, Luke remembers that there was more to the first sentence Sam spoke to him. The full sentence was actually, "Hello, Sam. We are all colors. Skip the starlight."
What?
I don't like the starlight line. That actually makes me a lot more terrified.
It's not ideal. I don't know what that means. But it could be in reference to like the brightest fuck lights that Luke saw when he entered like the Twilight Zone door into the green room.
I also just don't like anything that refers to itself as we, I automatically am like, well, this just isn't going to be good. I just think of like the line "We Are Legion." I'm like, oh, cool. I'm meeting the Antichrist. I'm going to die.
Well, speaking of the green room and speaking of that phrase, now, I don't know if you recall the original sentence that Sam the Sandown Clown said to the children.
Not off the top of my head. No.
It was, "Hello, and I am all colors, Sam." So this next part's going to really fuck with you because he remembers the green room. He remembers the lights. He remembers 2 empty wooden chairs. But further back in the room, there were 2 more chairs, and both were occupied. He couldn't make out the details of the figures in the chair, but he distinctly remembers them both having the same silhouette as Sam, the pointy hat, the long arms and legs, but he described them as basically a black void or being obscured in darkness for the most part. Kind of like what you would see like in a Dateline episode where someone's trying to hide their identity from the camera and they're just shrouded in black. So not only is there one Sam the Sandown Clown, there are 3 Sam the Sandown Clowns.
So we'll see the third one in the next 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
All right, so where are we at, guys? How are we feeling so far?
Well, I think it would have been cool if the 2 chairs were occupied by the original 2 children. That would have been awesome.
Yo,
that's what I was thinking too. Like they were aged out. Like every couple of years, they pick up the original ones.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would have been even way more terrifying. I don't know if I could have handled that.
They'd say, "Come, Luke, join us.
Come play with us, Luke, forever and ever."
Kind of like The Shining, yeah.
Yes. It's the twins.
I think you guys somehow made this story creepier if that were the case.
Well, what makes it like, I don't know, it for some reason this one feels a lot more malicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda, right? A little bit?
Yeah, like the other one's like a lot more playful. This one I seem like,
yeah, because
I don't know.
In Luke's email, he even said that like Sam, when he first came out to the children, he was like, he jumped up in the air and was like moonwalking and fucking like he was doing like cool tricks. Luke didn't get any of that shit. He just got sucked into a door.
Yeah, Luke got lured into a door.
So Sam's not playing around.
It's not playing around. It's over. It's done with the formalities. It's done with the courtship of human children. And for some reason, I keep thinking that it's like Luke, like our Luke.
It's not our Luke. No,
I know it's not our Luke, but like, Luke Ferry, friend of the show, getting abducted by clowns.
Now, and as far as for when Luke came to on his grandparents' couch, he said that it didn't feel like that much time had passed, at least not enough time for it to have been like to become dark outside. He said that he pretty much blinked while inside the green room and then bam, he's on the couch. So I think it's safe to say that poor young Luke here was either abducted by these interdimensional clowns or something very bad happened in that room. But I don't want to believe that. Not my boy Sam doing something nefarious. He's my boy.
Yeah, I think it's a time, abduction, time loss.
It's got to be, but the feeling is that Luke did not come away from this experience as happy as those 2 children in the original story did.
No, of course not. Of course not. I think now he has a phobia not only of clowns, but I would say of doors.
Doors, yeah. Like those doorways that appear in the wood, like regardless of if there's a clown or not, I probably wouldn't go in just a random portal.
No, not even a little bit. It just reminds me of the door from the opening of the original Twilight Zone. And I don't want to go through that door. That's a bad door. That's not a good door.
Like any door that's just standing upright on its own, there's nothing, there's no structure around it. Don't go through it. You're going to have a bad time.
If you open a door in a field and on the other side of that door is not just the same field, that's a bad door.
That's a bad door.
That's a bad door.
Listen, I'm a friend of the doors, not standalone doors.
That's a real fake door, if you ask me.
That door's got some secrets.
Wonder if his relationship changed with his parents whenever
That's what I was. He just can never look at his parents the same way ever again.
Yeah, Halloween was a nightmare at his house because they would we already have the costumes. We'll just be clowns.
Join us, Luke. Be a clown.
Join us, Luke. Be a clown.
Oh God.
It's in your blood. Do you not feel
I mean,
the
technically,
silly string?
now it probably is in his blood because he was abducted by 3 terrifying wooden marionette clowns.
All right, to be fair, he was only abducted by 1, and the other 2 could have been, it could be like the Greys, where they're actually just suits, and they could have been other suits that Sam, the now Nova Scotia clown, was cleaning. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, or maybe if it's like a robot, maybe he can swap his sentience between different shells of robots.
Yeah, it's like different shells for different, I guess, victims.
I think it's safe to call them victims.
Yeah, like he finds whichever one he think they're gonna react to better. Maybe Luke would have actually freaked out if it was the original Sam, the Sandown Clown,
Oh,
because of the fact that he has family that aren't legitimate clowns.
yeah, maybe. I don't
You'd
know.
have to do something to attract the Canadian child, like maybe smell of maple syrup.
Yeah, it offered free poutine
I was
and
gonna say,
a
just
can of Labatt's. Here's a Labatt and here's some poutine. Get in this fucking door.
Yeah, just smells of Molson. Now, obviously, when you're 5 years old and something like this happens, there's no way you can tell anyone and have them believe you. Luke probably had to like live with this for some time and probably even questioned it himself. He went on to say that he never had any more paranormal or extraterrestrial encounters, except for one other instance when he was in his early teens, when he said that between his house and the next street over was a gigantic field. This kid needs to fucking stay away from wide open spaces. But what were you going to say, Nick?
No, I mean, like,
he's a fan of urban sprawl now.
yeah,
He's like,
he has no problems with gentrification because he gets to see open fields just get filled up very quickly.
He goes to every city council meeting voting against green spaces for his community. He's like, no.
Brutalism. Give me brutalism. Give me concrete wonders.
one day he's getting ready for work and he looks in the mirror and there's like some clown makeup on his face, and no matter how hard he rubs it off, he's
just slowly
it starts to spread. Yeah. It's spreading down his butt. It's like that scene out of a Creep Show.
Exactly.
Where what's his name finds the meteorite, but instead of becoming grass, he becomes a clown.
Oh God, I think we just wrote a horror movie. But anyways, one night he and his friends were playing some nighttime hide and seek, with the seeker being the one with the flashlight. We all know how to play the game. I'm not going to explain it to you guys. But Luke said that he found a good hiding spot and some brush near the property line. He got all tucked in, waiting to be found. Luke noticed a golf ball-sized ball of light moving across the night sky and stopping directly in front of him. It hovered for a bit, then grew to the size of a basketball, and then fucked right off. He had asked his friends if they had seen it, but they all said no, except for one who had said he had seen it, but didn't want to talk about it right then and there. So the next day he had asked his friend, and his friend denied ever seeing it. And never spoke of it again. Now, could this have been Sam coming by just to say a quick hello? Kind of like a, hey, remember me? Fuck you. Maybe his friend saw something like Sam and was just too scared to say something. Maybe it came, and since he can apparently control time, maybe that kid experienced something that for the kid was a long amount of time, but for the people around him, it was like an instant thing. I don't know. But anyways, Luke had ended his email by saying that his wife suggested that he undergoes hypnosis and that if he finds out anything more, he'll keep everyone updated.
I think Sam marked him so that he
Maybe.
could follow him in the future.
Oh, I don't like that either.
I mean, yeah, he could just be like getting updates, research.
Yeah, maybe. Like maybe he's like scanning like a little chip inside of him. I don't know. I guess
Yeah, he's monitoring his steps.
Sam's very organic. It wouldn't be a chip. It'd be more like an acorn shell.
And Sam and his 2 buddies are those 3 beings walking side by side you saw in Miami yesterday.
Oh, maybe. I don't
Listen, they were at the art district. They were buying some Shepherd Ferry Supreme artwork, having a blast, drinking mimosas on the beach.
So this story, like I said, it was on the Cryptonaut podcast, and that came out like 3 months ago. And I don't understand how this story isn't more widely known at this point. Like Sam is kind of like a big deal, at least like in the UFO and cryptid community, or at least I thought he was. Maybe it's just me because I love him so fucking much and I try to keep up with it as much as I can. But I'm just wild that if you Google Sam the Sandown Clown, this story is not mentioned anywhere, which is bonkers to me.
If it's 3 months ago, I wonder if he's had the hypnosis yet. That would be amazing. He should do that.
I would love to know what's in the hypnosis session.
He should do that on TikTok Live.
Right? I haven't seen.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen any update yet. But obviously, we're going to keep the Sam the Sandown Clown story rolling as it comes through. But yeah, guys, that is the story of the return of Sam the Sandown Clown. I'm going to start with Mark. How you feeling about it?
Well, it's nice that he's back, but it sounds like he's getting more sinister, not as, jovial and playful as he was in England. And so that's cause for worry, like what happens on the next.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, this is also quite some time ago,
But this is more recent. This is more recently than the one in the 70s. But then again, we are coming up, if it is like a Pennywise situation.
We're coming up on it.
It'd be coming up to another encounter, I feel like.
Yeah. And this time, listen, he's going to be a lot hungrier. He's almost like he's edging himself.
God damn it.
Like each time he's like, oh yeah, Sam, this time I'm going to do it. And he gets like cold feet, so he's ready to, for lack of a better term, bust a move and eat some children.
Yeah.
He's just an edger.
It could be like,
he's just an edger.
Well, I mean, it could be just like kind of like how serial killers, they don't always commit the first murder right away. It always is a series of things that lead up to it. Maybe he's just working up the nerve, but I hope not. I love Sam so much. I don't want this to be bad.
I would be honestly heartbroken if our favorite clown, and listen, I'm terrified of clowns, if our favorite clown turned out to be one of the serial killer clowns.
Yeah.
Like Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
Like Wayne Gacy, but interdimensional. Like Zagnar from Mars is John Wayne Gacy, but he comes to Earth to do his crimes.
Yeah.
And so if this guy, if Luke's like in his mid-30s now, and that was 5, so that's like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Which would be like 30 years to the 70s. So we're probably coming up on a new appearance of Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're any day now.
I hope it's me. But no, he seems to favor children. I don't think he'd go to a 36-year-old man and be like, "Hey, do you want to come into my secret door?
Come check out this door in this field." But in our luck, it would be, come check out this door in Kensington, and then you would die from other things.
Yeah, immediately get stabbed. I'm not trying.
Like maybe the next year or two, what if Sam shows up at Squonk Fest, and then you can have him as a guest, and Nick and me also.
That'd be awesome. I just feel like, so he already hit England, he hit Canada. I feel like the next one would have to be Australia, because it seems like he's only going places where the Queen is on their money.
Yeah, well, that's valid.
They did take over half the world, so I mean,
exactly. But the Queen is still on the money in those 3. I don't think she's on the money anywhere else, is she?
Oh, you know what? So in October, my wife and we went to Belize. Mm-hmm. And I believe she's still on the money there, but they said they're changing it next year. So that could be a trigger for Sam to show up.
Yeah, he could just get a one last hurrah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, I think we cracked the code. So we just got to keep an eye on countries that Britain once occupied. That's going to be easy, right?
We need to keep an eye on Belize.
Narrows it down to like 50.
Yeah, at least 50. I think, that's fine. I'll take the first 15. We'll divide it evenly. We'll each get our own quadrant to just keep track over to make sure there's no clown sightings popping up.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Open invitation to Sam to be a guest on Cryptid Cocktail Party.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. This was a lot of fun, as always. Mark, before we leave, you got anything you want to plug? Website, anything like that?
Well, yeah, I've got mythsandmalts.com. And so there you can find all my books, any events, which right now there are none. I tried to get in as a vendor there's a beer festival in Arkansas.
Ooh.
And it's kind of like they have a Yeti as the logo. And
okay.
So I was like, well, that's cool. But I didn't get selected, so. I don't have that one, but I'm thinking of going to maybe Squonk Fest this.
Yeah, Squonkapalooza was a lot of fun. Definitely try and get there.
Squonkapalooza.
I had a really good time there. All right, Nick, you got anything you want to fucking say?
No. But thanks for having me on. I don't have anything cool coming up. Just working on watches.
What about these timepieces? Yeah.
Yeah. So I own a watch company. We're currently in the process of doing a bunch of new YouTube content. We just filmed a great video about Stephen Hawking and his what he actually has watches made for him. We all know what he likes to watch, but he actually had a few watches made for him that are very, very cool. And took like pieces of his pieces of his like one of his research papers and took pieces of his desk and made dials out of it. It's a pretty cool stuff. I'm actually pretty excited. No jokes. And
honestly thought you were going to say pieces of his chair. And
I did say that to Mike last night when we were filming, and we had a good laugh.
I thought you were going to say they made watches out of pieces of his chair. I was like, yo, I kind of want one of those watches.
What about a Cryptid Cocktail watch?
Ooh, that'd be
with
cool.
with a mixture of like Bigfoot hair and maybe some of
Chupacabra
David's
teeth.
or David's beard.
I was thinking the same thing. You know what? I think we could do that. Dave, let's have a little chat.
We'll figure.
You could sell on the. Oh, and also, David, congratulations on the Patreon and the YouTube.
Yeah, thank you.
Taking off.
The YouTube's not really taking off. I need to actually make videos. I feel like static images with audio on it is not what people want to see. But I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Mark. Although I did start that Patreon and then immediately got COVID and have not been able to like really do anything for it yet. But I'm going to start working on that this month.
I am a member.
I know. I appreciate that very much. I'm pretty sure I shouted you out on the first episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And Nick, thank you so much. If you guys want to follow Cryptid Cocktail Party, do that on Instagram at Cryptid Cocktail, TikTok at Cryptid Cocktail Party. As Mark said, we do have a Patreon. I promise I won't neglect it anymore. I am feeling so much better now. I'm just tired. So there'll be great content there. It's only $5 a month, one tier. You get everything that I put on there. And I think that is it. With that, do you guys want to say goodbye?
Adios.
Thank you for having me again. I love it. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and listen to these great stories.